Good evening, everybody, and a very warm welcome to the biggest Man United fan channel in the land. This is the United Stand. The United Stand have gone mental this evening and let Kev be the host. Only filling in for Adam, who can't be here. So don't shoot me down. Joined by two absolutely fantastic guests, the creme de la creme of the United Stand. First of all, I want to give a very warm welcome to Jordan Valleys, the DJ maestro himself. What's going on, Jordan? How are you, mate?
How are you doing? Live from Marbella, and it is the Thursday night show. I've got it right. It's definitely not Tuesday, and it's always a pleasure to be joined by you guys.
Good man, you big show off in Marbella, eh? I bet the weather's a bit nicer there than it is in Manchester at the minute, but
it is. It's lovely.
Good man, good to have you on board. And as always, the Roy Keane of the United Stand. He looks set for business there. Jay Daly. It seems like ages since we last spoke, mate. How are you doing?
Yeah, Kev, it's been a while. Lots happened since then, both club and country, whatnot. And Jordan, you're in my old stomping ground. I lived in Malaga for 9 months. Marbella was only a stone throw from Malaga, and that's where we would go to, let's just say, have some sherbets and talk to the locals, so to speak. So I miss Marbella a lot. Great spot.
Nothing's changed, mate. Nothing's changed.
Oh, God. I could
never change.
I could imagine the stories. I bet Jay Daly's very well known around them parts. But anyway, we are here, obviously, to discuss the biggest club in world football, that is Manchester United. And thanks to everybody in the live comments who has joined us. Make sure you get your comments in, like the video and all that stuff. And hopefully, if your comment is decent enough, we will give it a read out, because that's what we do here on the United Stand, the Manchester United Stand, I was going to say. First up, we are talking transfers, obviously, that dominates or will dominate Manchester United's summer. Erik ten Hag last night sealed the title for Ajax with an emphatic win, which now means he can turn his attention to the job, which we know is a massive job, and that is Manchester United, and trying to get us back to where we probably as fans believe we belong. And this is going to rhyme, actually. Frenkie de Jong. You having that one? Yeah, no. Anyway, Frenkie de Jong is being touted as a possible target. Now, there is conflicting stories if you've been reading online today. It does seem that he's being kind of pushed out the door. I'll come to you first on this one, Jordan. Frenkie de Jong, roughly around the 70 million mark, which would eat into Manchester United's supposed transfer war chest that we hear about on a daily basis. But I suppose I'll ask you, is this a player that would get you excited? What would he bring to Manchester United if a deal could be done?
Yeah, it definitely sounds like Barca are the ones that are throwing him out there like a piece of bait to see if we'll bite. It does seem to be a deal that suits both parties. Barcelona clearly need the funds after the struggles of COVID, and they're in the process of recovering and want to challenge Real, who seem to have coped better post-COVID than Barca. They're going to have to sacrifice an asset in order to invest that money cleverly throughout the squad. I think they utilize the free agent market very well. You see what's happened with Coutinho. They've managed to push him out and get a buyer for him, and they've took a hit on him. And De Jong is obviously someone they probably don't want to get rid of, but when in the scheme of things, longevity of the football club, if they can get 70 million for him and reinvest that throughout the team, and utilize the free agency market that we keep talking about as well, I think it makes good business for them. From our point of view, our midfield is dog shite and has been for 2 years. He's a great midfielder. I said the other day when we were on that with the signings that Ten Hag is going to look to bring in, he's going to have generals on that field, players that know him, know what's expected of him, and is there really anyone better? They have a great working relationship, knows the system. So from that side, it makes sense. Does it make sense for the player? And that's the interesting one. I think the fact that we're not in the Champions League is going to be massively against us. But then the flip side of that is, I think if we were in the Champions League and being linked to him, there would be a ton of other clubs that potentially would jump in on this deal and try and get it done. So I think it's down to the relationship between Ten Hag being able to sell the dream and get him to buy into the vision of where he's looking to take this club, which I think is important. The other thing I just want to mention is, all the times we were linked to Rice, and the figures of 70, 80 million, and everyone's like, absolutely not. We need to be looking, for bargains and shrewd signings, and not spending crazy money. No one's talking about this fee. 6 million out of 150 million transfer kitty. It is a massive chunk of it, but no one seems to be kicking off. Everyone just seems to be excited. So that lets us know, how much the fans sort of value him as a player.
It is a great point, Sir Jordan. It's obviously a player that Ten Hag's worked with in the past, didn't want to let go from Ajax, but obviously at Ajax, Jay, he had his hands tied because Ajax do this season after season. They sell the best players, don't they? And I think Ten Hag taking the Manchester United job, part of this is the fact that he'll be able to build his own team. Now, the question I wrote down for you, Jay, you're going to love this. I'm setting you up to knock this one out of the park, but on Frenkie de Jong, is he an upgrade on our current midfield?
Kevin, you could put Jordan and myself, double J in that midfield, and we'd do a better job than Max Shite. Come on now, Kevin. That was an easy one. At least give me a challenge. Come on, buddy.
Jay.
Come on.
Let it go.
Seriously, what do you reckon, Jordan? Double J in that midfield. Who's having that as opposed to Max Shite? At least I'll go in and kick somebody. And Jordan has a bit of flair about him. So at least no one's getting past us anyway, Jordan, at least. Look, he's definitely an upgrade. And I like what Jordan said, 2 key points there. He said that we need a midfield general. And De Jong certainly, at OE24, has potential to be that. And secondly, I'd say if Ten Hag was not our manager, De Jong would not even be looking coming to our club. A club in a rebuild, no Champions League football, a club that has proven over the last couple of seasons that essentially it's broken. So obviously the key conduit here is Ten Hag. Does he want to be reunited with Ten Hag, who literally started his career and gave him his break in the pro game? Look at it. We love to see it. But are Barcelona now just baiting us into a bidding war? They're saying 70 mil, but could the likes of a Bayern or Chelsea and or even a Man City, don't rule them out, getting involved in bidding war? And before we know it, if we don't bite now, early in its window, that Frenkie de Jong deal, that could become up to 90, 100 million in 2 months' time. And let's be fair, we have been notoriously slow for the last, 10 years in executing a transfer deal. So right now, De Jong, he's low-hanging fruit, but the longer it drags on, the greater chance of a bigger club than us, and let's be fair, guys, a bigger club than us on performance for the last couple of seasons would come in and throw another 10 million onto the pile, and Barcelona would step to the highest bidder. That's my fear.
So you would both agree then that obviously the De Jong deal, it's not Barcelona selling De Jong, Jordan, because he's been a failure at Barcelona. Are we purely looking at this and going, Barcelona are basically on their arse. They need this financially, and that is the only reason, obviously with Ten Hag in the mix, that Manchester United are going to be in for De Jong, because I think this one's kind of come out of nowhere. We've seen the normal suspects that have been touted around, that have been linked to Manchester United. This one, I know they always say there's no smoke without fire. It does seem interesting, this one, but would you say it's more to do with the fact that Barcelona have to sell De Jong to bring funds in because of the state of them financially at the minute?
Let me give it to you a different way. It's a married couple who've had financial difficulty, and the wife is making the husband take their PlayStation 3 down to cash generator to trade it in.
Love it.
Nothing wrong with the PS3. Really enjoy playing it, but it got to be sacrificed to pay the bills. That is what it is. They don't want to lose him. He's a great player, but in order to be able to strengthen the rest of the team and to be able to get challenging Real and be competitive in the Champions League again, they need investment. They haven't got it. The money isn't there. Someone's O's got to go.
Yeah. Would you agree on that, Jay? Following up on that other tough question that I asked you, about is De Jong, an upgrade on United's current midfield? And I'm firing all the big questions at you this evening, mate.
Well, to carry on from Jordan's analogy, I think our current midfield it's not even a PlayStation 3. It's more like an old Amstrad from back in the day. And bringing De Jong is like bringing a PS5.
Can I just say, I thought, I don't even know what the latest PlayStation is. The last one I had was a 3. So that's where I'm at. I've just somebody in the comments is saying that we're on 5 or 6 or something.
We're on 5. So if we
I don't know.
If we compare the 2 incumbents to an Amstrad computer back from, remember the ones back in the 80s where it was on a tape, you had to put a tape in and let it load and load. So dog slow. It was so dog slow. You could go downstairs, have your dinner, come back up, and it was still loading. So we the phrase we always use is a gaping hole of that midfield. But you remember in those tapes there was 2 gaping holes. So I think our midfielders right now, I think they are the old Amstrad or Spectrum gaping hole tape. And we're upgrading to a PS5.
They're snakes on a Nokia. That's what they are.
How do we even get to talking about Atari STs and Spectrum ZXs from just discussing, really, really critical transfer news
Kevin,
Manchester United?
I'll tell you how and why. It's very simple. Because right now, the 3 wise men are on the show. That's why.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
We're allowed to get old without losing Holly and Beth. We can just get old and just embrace it. So it's great. It's great.
Next up on the agenda, let's get the PlayStation 1s out the way for a minute. There has been a recruitment meeting, supposedly with Ten Hag today, which did involve Mitchell van der Gaag, which in itself is quite interesting. We're led to believe that Steve McClaren has been in talks with Manchester United. Now, for me, it's quite interesting because of the speed that Ten Hag is moving at here. I think he's under no illusion of the job at Manchester United and what he has to do. He's only sewn up the Dutch title last night with Ajax, Jordan, and already he's still got 1 game to play. So he's still Ajax's manager. We've heard the stories that he's looking at getting the players in 2 weeks early. I've already stated my case. I said 2 or 3 of them can go and have a summer holiday. They've earned it. But apart from that, I wouldn't even let them have a summer holiday. I wouldn't even let them go on a tour, to be honest. Letting them fly off to America or whatever and arsing about there. I'd keep them back here. Week in Blackpool. That's what they need. Get them out on the coast. Laps of the coast and all that. But I suppose the question is on Steve McClaren, Jordan. Is it something you'd look at? And I know there'll be maybe some younger people, the Wally with the brolly and all this, and look at it and go, do we want Steve McClaren anywhere near Manchester United? But we do remember he was a close ally of Sir Alex Ferguson and did win the treble at Manchester United. He was known as being quite revolutionary, his training at Manchester United.
I would have crawled through broken glass just to be a fly on the wall in that meeting, just for the record. I would have loved to hear what was going on.
Do you reckon McClaren put on the Dutch accent?
Don't. I'm trying to take him serious, but he's given us so many comedy gold moments, hasn't he? Do you know what? I think some people in life are great number 2s, but they're never going to be the main attraction. And for me, somebody like him who has been a great number 2 in the past, knows the league. I think that's really important, really, really important to help Ten Hag hit the ground running, is to understand the opposition, understand the fixtures, the travelling, the congestion and the pressure of games in and around Christmas and all those things. To be able to lean on somebody that has that knowledge, I think is priceless. So as long as he's coming in and he's assisting the manager, I'm not trying to be the manager, then I'm happy. What I don't want to see is that Darren Fletcher vibe where he's on the touchline and he's the one barking the orders and giving out instructions. Like, let the manage, and you assist the manager. So for me, I'm not against it. I think he's definitely add something, even if it's only for part of Ten Hag's contract, and he's not there for the whole time, the first 12, 18 months, and then he goes off and takes a job trying to save somebody from relegation further down the league. I'm okay with it, but I think that initial bedding process of a new manager, new culture, new league, I think it's great.
I just see quickly that because I'm kind of in charge here, so I can freestyle. Somebody asked for Kev's Rangnick impression when he shouted at Phelan to put the cones out. So I think it's only fitting that I do that. And Phelan, put out the cones. Straight to you on that one, Jay. Steve McClaren. Steve McClaren. Let's keep it sensible here, man. Steve McClaren, Jay. What are you thinking? Is that? Would you look at that and go? Would you look at it and go, Ten Hag? If you want Steve McClaren, you go for him, mate. You do what you need to do.
I was looking at Jordan up the screen here. He's still reading from your John Cleese impersonation there.
You can't do that impression and then say, come on, lads.
There we go, 10 out of 10.
Look, the first thing I picked from that is it's testament to the fact that Ten Hag won the Dutch League title yesterday, and he's already zoned in on a meeting today and has McClaren in there already. If memory serves, did McClaren not give Ten Hag a coaching job back when he was manager of FC Twente back in the day when he left United to go to FC Twente? Someone in the comments will probably correct me if I'm wrong on that. So look, your point on that, Kevin, you can't. There's no price you can put on experience, and I do not want people to say, "Oh, Premiership proven," blah blah blah. McClaren is not Premiership proven. He's been a number 2. He knows the role. What we don't want to see is a repeat of Mickey Phelan in Solskjaer's ear. It was like watching Dumb and Dumber Part 3, and we certainly don't want to see a reincarnation of Darren Fletcher. And I agree with you, Kevin, what you said in Radnick's ear. Definitely not. But Steve McClaren is going to be there in the background, just as a sounding board, and to assist, I suppose, from a more point of view, a logistics, and maybe act as a go-between between Ten Hag and English media, because we know how aggressive the English media are. I think someone from Sky Sports rocked up a month ago or 6 weeks ago at Ike's training ground and was trying to get a soundbite from Ten Hag. Ten Hag was like, "Why the hell are you here?" Just drove right by. So maybe Steve McClaren can act maybe as a kind of a conduit in between the media, the logistics crew, and Ten Hag, and I suppose to ease the transition from the Dutch league into the Premiership. So look, I'm all for it as long as the man making the calls, and use Adam's phrase, the man with the big balls making the calls, end of the day is Ten Hag and nobody else. So if McClaren's there in the background, so what? Let him on.
I think that's a good point. You touch on a good point about ex-players. I think some of us are in two minds that the club might be going back. If we've heard the names of kind of Robin van Persie, haven't we, mentioned? And I think some fans believe we need to get away from this ex-player kind of thing. It was only the other day, a friend of mine rang me about, funnily enough, it was about Mickey Phelan, and saying apparently Rangnick doesn't let him do anything on the training field. But it's Rangnick's kind of assumption, or he's come to this kind of conclusion that he's never actually really done anything at Manchester United. So he's seen through somebody like Mike Phelan. Apparently he's just waiting now till the end of the season. I think his contract's up and then he's going to leave. So in that sense, it kind of kills you, because you think, what was he brought back for? Again, it was because he worked with Sir Alex Ferguson. We were trying to play off them vibes that Sir Alex Ferguson, or if he was good enough to be under him. But Jay's right, Jordan. You need to bring in your own coaching staff. Now, whoever it is, you have to be with Ten Hag on this one. But I would say, what one person, and it could be an ex-player, would you like to see be appointed as part of Ten Hag's kind of backroom staff? Somebody that would, I don't know, it could be somebody who puts the cat amongst the pigeons, or just somebody that you think would be a good choice. Or are you just of the opinion of, if Ten Hag wants him, go and get him?
Yeah, I am kind of that opinion. We have to trust Ten Hag to bring in the people that knows his system and understands the vision of where he wants to go with it. The Van Persie thing, I wasn't against it. I definitely would have took him. I don't see him in the same mold as your Scholes, your Nevilles, and your Rios, because he's not on our TV every week, giving his opinion on the team and contradicting things that he says, and, not calling out Ollie when Ollie should have been called out, but then hammering the current management. So Yeah, Van Persie for me is somebody that I would have. I think he fits the mold in the sense that he understands the Dutch league and the philosophy, but he also knows the Premier League. So I do think that was quite a nice balance. But then, like I said, I'm not against the McClaren thing. I think we just have to trust everything that Ten Hag wants to do and back him and support him, and hope that he takes us out of this dark cloud that we're under at the moment.
And the interesting thing, Jay, is that Mitchell van der Gaag was present at this meeting today, which probably tells you a lot, as he's not officially been confirmed yet, but he's obviously going to be part of the setup at Manchester United. We talk about ex-players there. I mean, Jordan's just thrown in Rio Ferdinand, which I wouldn't have him anywhere near Manchester United. After the comments he's come out with this week, basically condemning Ralph Rangnick and saying that Manchester United need to kind of gag him, and he shouldn't do any press conferences, shouldn't be coming out and saying anything because PR-wise, it doesn't look great for the club. Well, we need to get away from that, Jay, don't we? How long has this been going on at Manchester United? We've had 3 years of it under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, where things have all looked rosy in the garden and that. And it's the reason that the club, I firmly believe, really wanted to choose Pochettino over a Ten Hag for this kind of reason, that these people are not going to be outspoken. They can be put in front of a microphone and look good. But who is there anyone in particular? Are you going down the Roy Keane route?
Okay, the very fact that
somebody
Roy
for the
Keane,
backroom staff.
Roy Keane has not even been asked back to play in the Legends game coming up soon. So if they're not asked to do that, he wasn't even asked to go back to play against Bayern Munich in the 99 Legends game that happened, I think, 2-3 years ago. So, rightly or wrongly, I think wrongly, because I'm biased towards Roy Keane because he's a countryman and a big fan. He's never going to be back United in any role. On Ferdinand, now I'm glad you brought Ferdinand up. Ferdinand, great player, and we respect him as a player. But as a pundit, I think he's atrocious as a pundit. He's the very man that lost the room himself that night in Paris when he jumped up literally off of the desk and started shouting, "Get the contract out, sign the contract, sign the contract." And then what happened? You had a couple million fans then following Rio Ferdinand, jumping on a 3-year bandwagon, has us where we are now. So for me, Rio Ferdinand needs to shut his mouth, because he talks utter crap. That's Rio Ferdinand done. Thank you, Rio. Good night, Rio. The only possible player that I would look at bringing in, and only going in a Dutch context, and we've all agreed that squad lacks backbone, lacks steel, lacks balls, lacks everything you possibly think of. What about bringing in Jaap Stam?
Yeah.
You there for that, Kev?
You're a man after my own heart. That's the name I've got down on my pad. Imagine big Jaap Stam in there over at Harry Maguire. Open up a can of whoop-ass on him, going to town on every single one of them. And a lot of them players could learn a lot from Jaap Stam. I think he would be a fantastic asset to Manchester United. And again, it kind of goes against the grain, because we do talk about these ex-players, but I think that the kind of gripe is it's the class of 92 kind of thing, isn't it? The kind of Scholes, I can't say Beckham, Gary Neville, these kind of players that are still in the media or the mainstream media, the kind of BT Sports, Sky Sports, and are able to voice their opinions. And Gary Neville was going down the Pochettino route, wasn't it? And I think maybe Manchester United for once had a look maybe at the poll result that Gary Neville himself threw out, saying, who do you want, Pochettino or Ten Hag? I think Gary Neville was surprised that a lot of Manchester United fans went for Ten Hag, which is why I'm actually delighted they have, because he's moving fast, isn't he? We've seen, I think he's still the manager of Ajax, and he's already, starting to make waves.
For me, Gary Neville, he's no better than a member of a cabinet. He'll sit in defence, and then when the overriding public opinion has shifted towards one realm of action, then he'll go with that realm of action. But prior to that, he sees his arse firmly on defence. Now, Gary Neville got great credit from all of us when he came out against Super League, but that was a free hit because we were all against Super League. But Neville was championing Poch for months and months and months. We all know he was. He backed Solskjaer to the absolute hilt until maybe the last 2 games before he got sacked. And I think Neville will be one of the first pundits that will slag off Ten Hag after even 2 or 3 average performances. So Gary Neville, for me, he's no better than a member of the House of Commons. He's a fence sitter for me.
Yeah. Another story, or the other main story of the day to come from these Ten Hag meetings, we've covered the Steve McClaren, Frenkie de Jong, supposedly being on Manchester United's radar, whatever that is. The clubs even have radars. Don't think they do. But the Ten Hag story is coming out and saying that he's prioritising. That's a big word for Kev. That I got it out. I've done myself proud. 4 summer signings. Jordan, do you know what positions? 2 of them are at one position, you can guess. And what are the other positions?
I think it's the spine, isn't it? So a centre-back, 2 midfielders and a striker.
You're absolutely bang on. You don't win anything, but you've got it bang on, mate. Go on.
Right the way through the middle of that team, the spine is... It's a breadstick, isn't it? It's a breadstick. And it needs intensive work this summer. And if you can bring 4 players in who are new signings, who are not tarnished with times gone by and buy into the philosophy, I think we can definitely come on leaps and bounds this summer.
Yeah, I think you're being a bit kind there saying United spine's a breadstick, because breadsticks are nice. You can dip them in stuff, you can eat them. They're actually quite useful, whereas United spine is no use at all. Jay, 2 midfielders, yeah, a versatile forward. That's what we're reading in the media. A versatile forward and a centre half. So that's 1 centre half. You would look and probably think, is Harry Maguire's days numbered? See, I'm setting you up again for the big questions here. Does this story that Ten Hag wants a centre half, a centre back, a CB, or whatever the kids today call it, does that show that time could be up for our Marvel captain?
Okay, Harry Maguire this season, he's been as useful as a chocolate fire guard. So personally, I'll have him gone. The club, of course, they are not going to sell Harry Maguire for 30 million quid and rather 50 mil of an asset. They're not going to do that.
You don't think they will?
No, I think they will.
No.
There's more chance of them selling Rashford than Harry Maguire. I believe that. Rashford, 2 years after his contract. Okay.
So Jay,
I think there's more chance it's on Rashford actually.
If Ten Hag now, we're going about total control at Manchester United. If he turns around and says, the fella over there with a massive head, I don't like him, I can't work with him, I can't make him any faster than what he is, I'll never be able to make him defensively better, I want my own centre-back, whoever it is he wants to bring in, and he instructs the club to sell him. Do you... Because for me, we're back to the start here. The whole point of Ten Hag being at Manchester United is that he gets total control. So if he says get rid of Harry Maguire, do you honestly deep down think that the club would say no, we've got to keep him because we paid 80 million or whatever for him?
Kevin, I was the first one of us when I came on my first show that called out Harry Maguire, and every other person on the show backed Harry Maguire for a long time. And was laughing at me when I called it Harry Maguire. And you probably remember those shows. Yeah. I don't think Harry Maguire is good enough. There's no question about it. I never thought he was good enough. We overpaid. That's not Maguire's fault. I'll rephrase it. If this club has finally reached tipping point where it's going to tip from being social media driven for likes and shares and all that jazz, and signing tractor deals and compost deals in Asia and God knows where, if it shifts from that business model to becoming a football club, and I'm going to say it, a real football club like Liverpool, and let's be fair, guys, you can cite them off all you want, but they are run as a football club to win trophies. So if a tipping point has finally been reached and said, right, guys, we're going to start next 10 years, we're leaving behind the commercial-driven past, and we're going to focus on rebuilding and win trophies, then you get rid of a Harry Maguire. You get rid of a and Marcus Rashford? Yes. So Ten Hag comes in, and as you said, Kevin, right, Maguire, I can't make a player out of him. He's paid X, Y, and Z. I don't care. I want him gone, and I want to sign, for instance, a Pau Torres, for argument's sake.
Yeah.
And the club say, yeah, but we can only get 30, 40 million for him. Ten Hag, I don't care. You're going to sit on the bench. I'm not going to play him. If that happens, then a tipping point has been reached, and we are now shifting back to becoming a real football club. And time will tell. If I were in that place, Rashford and Maguire would be gone in a heartbeat. I think it'd be a discussion.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, Jay. I just think Ten Hag has to come in and pick his battles. And there's so many fires that he needs to put out. He needs to select which ones he goes for. And there's so many players that are at the end of contracts and are going to be leaving anyway. I just don't think he needs to take on the challenge of trying to move on a Rashford or a Maguire. I think with Eric Bailly going, Varane's injury issues, I can't see any decision being made on Maguire this summer. I think by bringing another centre-back in that becomes a starter, it means that Maguire then has to battle for a position with Varane and Lindelof. I think the biggest question is for Ten Hag to come in and take the armband off of Maguire. That's what I think needs to be done.
That is the massive issue, isn't it? And I think this manager will be big enough to do that. He basically walks into that dressing room and he has to say, I'll be selecting my own captain. And I mean, another player that was linked today was one when we were talking through a list of potential transfer targets. I threw in a bit of a wild card, but only because he's worked under Ten Hag and things haven't gone really to plan at Juventus was De Ligt. I look at De Ligt and I think we know there's a player there. Manchester United were interested before he moved to Italy. And I look at that one, Jordan. Is that something that would, can't think of an analogy, but get you excited? Anything's better than Harry Maguire, surely.
Yeah, sorry, I missed that.
Mateus De Ligt.
Right.
Is he going to get your juices flowing? Do you know what I mean? Get you excited at what?
Again, I just see we're talking about trying to sign 4 or 5 players at 150 million. De Jong and De Ligt, that's our money gone.
Yeah.
Like, we've got to be sensible.
Do you think, Jordan, it comes down to, Jay's just mentioned Harry Maguire, we might only get 30 million. Do you think the Rashford one comes in because potentially he's a player there that hasn't proven to us Manchester United fans yet what he's all about? He's certainly not hit the heights, but there's still a transfer fee there. What would you reckon a team would be prepared to go to for Rashford? And you build in the kind of commercial value to a player like that, his age. What do you reckon roughly Manchester United could kind of get for him?
Yeah, I think the thing is with Rashford is that he is so marketable, and he has such a good profile that a club like a Newcastle, who are new money, that for them would be a marquee signing to go out and say that they've signed Marcus Rashford. That's a great look for them. So we would get good money for Rashford. Also, Rashford is well respected out in Europe. There's been talks in the past of him being linked to PSG and so forth. With his explosive pace, yeah, we know the end product isn't great, but imagine him in a slower league. He'd be devastated. So I think, I think we would get good money. We would get 50, 60 million for him, purely because of the brand he is, not based on current form.
That's what it is. I was going to say to you, just back on your point there before, Jay, obviously about Harry Maguire, and that's why I don't see him really as a marketable footballer, somebody that is certainly going to... I don't think I've ever seen somebody walking around Old Trafford with Maguire on the back of the shirt, unless they're actually called Maguire. They just happen to share the name. Maguire number 7 or something.
I've got a Maguire shirt.
Oh, sweet Jesus Christ. How the hell?
Did you win it in a competition?
Was it there?
I got a Phil Jones shirt as well. Yeah.
Oh, you got
all I don't mind Phil Jones too much. I got
all the big guns. I got all the big guns.
Okay, guys, just think, right? Just imagine, right? Okay, Maguire, 30 mil, right? Rashford, 60. And reports are saying that we have a budget of we've got 100 mil. So just play for for sheer sport here, you've 190 mil, give or take. All right.
Yeah.
Look at the midfield. You can get Kamara on a free. Ericsson on a free. Bring in De Jong for 70. You've Gardner coming back. Okay, you've got Bruno. There's your 5 midfielders. You sell Max Scheidt. You probably get Canalilt, as Kevin Asher would say, from Tomley, and you'll get a Mars bar for Fred. So straight away, guys, 190 mil, right? We spend 70, and we now have 5 midfielders. You got 120 left. That's 120 left, guys. That's 120 left.
Yeah.
You're probably and a Mars McClaren. I'll have the Mars for whatever. Thanks very much. So it's okay. So then you have what's left then to buy your centre back. You can look at a Paul Torres or De Ligt, but I don't think we'll get De Ligt because I think Chiellini is off to America. So Juve might hang on to De Ligt. You're left then, guys, with over 100 million quid to get a centre back and a forward. Your midfield problem is solved. You've gotten rid of your Captain Calamity. You've gotten rid of your sulky straw. Oh, and we still have Martial to get rid of. So it can be done. It can be done, guys.
Eric Ten Hag, eh? Why did we get Eric Ten Hag, Jay, when we could have just got yourself there? You make it sound so easy. And you've teed me up beautiful for the next question. You've actually answered the next question without me even asking you the question, which now will pass over to Jordan, which was the 2 central midfielders, the versatile forward, and the centre half. Who are you going for, mate? Or what would be your choice? Yeah. And try and keep it realistic. Don't be throwing in Mbappe as the versatile forward. And
yeah, I think it's funny because I've been on the channel just over a year now, and I watched the tape you send in when you're obviously applying to be on the show, and all the problems we had then we've still got now. Like nothing's changed. Like it is what it is. Pogba's still stringing us along, waiting to decide about his contract. Midfield's absolutely non-existent. Like it's all the same stuff. Like nothing's changed.
Jordan, I must say that is very, very funny because obviously I was on the United stand before, but they did ask me to send in this video, so I was like just sat in my kitchen or whatever, and I was like, what can I do it on? But you go on about we have the same problems. My video from what would that be? About a year ago was about Paul Pogba leaving Manchester United for free. So I was like, Paul Pogba's finally walked away from Manchester United on a free transfer. And I was like, it's going to happen, isn't it? And that was a year ago.
Yeah, nothing's changed. Nothing's moved on. I think we got to be sensible. I really like the Timber signing. I think, again, it's all about the generals for me. I think it's so important for Ten Hag to have players he trusts out there. And, I go on about the Matic signing for Mourinho. That was a Matic signing. Now, the flip side of it is Fellaini was a Moyes signing. So you can't get it wrong. But I just feel like we have to trust this manager to make signings that players go out there and they understand. So for me, yeah, Timber's a great sign. I think the Kamara one is an easy one to do because, again, it's a free transfer. He's available. Ericsson, again, free transfer. They're obvious deals for me and to everyone else. I don't understand why we wouldn't go out and get these done. I think the money then needs to be spent in the centre of midfield. I still really like Basuma. I always go on about him. Yeah. I just think value for money. I don't think we're in a position to go out and spend 70, 80 million pounds on one position if we've only got 150. And you look at the players that are going out, they really don't carry a lot of value. We're not going to get a lot of money from Martial after I'm going to say stunk the place out against Seville, but I really don't want any far comments, guys. There's not a lot of money there. And I can't see Lingard's going for free, Pogba's going for free. Eric Bailly's probably, would you say Eric Bailly's the biggest sellable asset that's going to go in the summer out of the players that are being sold? Maybe Henderson, would you say? Probably get a decent sum of money for Henderson.
I think Newcastle had come in for Henderson. I think it's well documented they need a goalkeeper. And if they're going down that route where that one day they are going to be just kicking around challenging, then Dean Henderson, in my opinion, would definitely not turn down a move to Newcastle. with everything that's going on there. They're going places. It will take time, as we've seen with Manchester City. But when you're armed with that much kind of cash and owners that are driven like that, it's only going to sort of go one way, which is the way. Martial, would a Martial go to Newcastle?
Yes, he would. I think he would. But are we going to get money for him? I actually think of all the players who potentially could have a new lease of life under Ten Hag, I actually do think it could be Martial. So for me, if there was one player I think we would have a look at again, would be him. I wouldn't be. He'd probably be the last one I'd look to move out, considering the amount of other players that are definitely leaving. I just think that we know our board, they're limited on the amount of deals that they can do in one summer transfer window. And this is what I was saying earlier. We've got to pick our battles. It's not all going to be done in one summer. As much as we won 10 players out and 10 new players in, it physically can't happen. Which is it's a good thing that the work started straight away. He's won the league yesterday. He started on it again today because we're going to need as much time as we can. I said the other day, every single day is going to count in this summer transfer window. So I'm glad that he started already. But he's got to pick his battles. And I think strengthening the spine of that team and allowing the players that are leaving to leave, that needs to be the priority.
Yeah, well, we've got about 4 minutes left there. We have got some massive breaking Mark Goldbridge news coming up. So make sure you stick around until the end of the video. You've got about 4 minutes left there. Jay, another really, really tough question for you, my friend. What players do you look at under Ten Hag at this moment in time? Do you think he's actually going to walk in and say, cannot work with you, not my type of player, see you later? Off the top of your head.
Maguire, Amar Masaka, Scott McTominay. Yobby's ones, guys.
Yobby's here all night.
Is this your starting 11 or what?
No, it's just, he's going to boot out. And I'd be worried as well about Shaw and Tellez. Very worried. As wing backs, he wants to play wing backs. Neither of them. Well, Tellez is a better wing back, I think, than Shaw on paper, but he can't defend for shit. So I think left back as well could be a problem for Ten Hag.
I just wanted to touch on another thing. I don't know, did you watch the Youth Cup final last night?
Yes.
So people in the comments did. Was at Old Trafford. I just wanted to touch on it. Obviously, it's a great achievement for Manchester United. A game that I was at last night, I think nearly 70,000 people at it. It was absolutely crazy. I mean, outside the ground, I don't think United had even allowed for enough stewards. The police, I don't think they knew what was going on. They must have been like, a Youth Cup final, 70,000 fans. I know it sounds like a little dig this, but I know the other club in Manchester, I've tried selling Champions League tickets, for Christ's sake. Buy one, get one free, kids go free, £1 a ticket, whatever. And they have never got anywhere near that for even a Champions League game. And yet for a Youth Cup final yesterday, it was absolutely brilliant to be there and part of it. And the main thing for me, which going to Old Trafford yesterday, was hope and just that vision of hopefully that these next crop of players, just to give you some kind of buzz. And by God, did they do that. Garnacho was, I know he got all the headlines, but I'm speaking to this guy next to me, just mithing him, and I'm like, this guy looks like the next kind of Ryan Giggs. He looked that good. He stood out head and shoulders above everybody else. And it does go back to the discussion we had, Jordan, where I said, why not give the kids a chance? And he will be certainly, I said, Ten Hag will be looking at this player and going, I can work with this lad. I can make him an absolute superstar. And every one of them lads yesterday, pride, passion, fight, everything we've been starved of from the Manchester United first team. I know it's a different level of football and that, but it was a fantastic game and the fans responded to it. The players responded to it. So I just wanted to say it was a great night out and a great success for Manchester United. Hopefully, if this so-called class of 2022 can break into the first team, then the future is looking bright. On that note, I wanted to say, Jordan, fantastic points. Always great to have you on, mate. And enjoy Marbella.
Thank you, mate. Much appreciated.
See how I said that through gritted teeth then? Enjoy Marbella. I'll have a summer holiday one time, don't you worry. And Mr. J Daly, his Instagram account has been hacked. He still can't get in touch with anyone from Instagram. It's just bang out of order. If anybody in the live chat or watching this video can help him out, get in touch with him. Jay, where can they get in touch with you?
Kevin, thanks for that. They can get me on Twitter at JDailyUTD. That Twitter account documented 4 years of my life prepping for bodybuilding shows, training, nutrition, diet. And I suppose it's a snapshot of a part of my life. And I really want it back. And some bloody scumbag has it and is using it now to try and con people to buying a cryptocurrency. So as Kevin said, and I appreciate it, any of you out there that are tech gurus, or maybe you might work for Instagram, drop me a DM, guys, because I want that account back.
Yeah. And just following up on that as well, we have got the big breaking news. I'm sure you've all seen it. Mark Goldbridge, our very own head honcho, the main man of the United Stand, made it up in that. And unfortunately, it is sad news. Mark will be on TalkSport tomorrow morning. I think he's presenting his own show. So it's the end of Mark Goldbridge on the United Stand. No, it's not. Reeled you in. Yes, he is on TalkSport tomorrow. There's been a lot made on social media that Mark has stepped over the dark side. He's gone to TalkSport, and what will the United Stand do? But he continues on the United Stand. So everybody in the comments, just calm it down. He'll be back doing his usual stuff all through the day, which ties me in nicely, because right now, if you go over to That's Football on YouTube, which is Mark's other channel, he's doing the watch along for Spurs v Arsenal. So if that floats your boat, you click the link in the description, get over to it, drop a like on this video. Thanks again to Jordan. Thanks again to Jay, everybody in the live comments, and apologies for subjecting you to that impersonation of Ralph Rangnick shouting at Mike Phelan. We'll be back very soon. You've been watching the biggest Man United fan channel in the land. You've been watching the United Stand. Thank you, please.